Good morning, afternoon, or evening, y'all. My name is Shannon, and today we are just doing a book shopping, book haul vlog. I don't know that this video will ever see the light of day because I don't know how many books I'm going to be buying today, but today is the day after Christmas, which means Boxing Day, which is like just a Black Friday, but for Christmas, basically. I got a Barnes & Noble gift card, so I'm so excited to go spend it there because I have not set foot in a Barnes & Noble in like 7 months. I have not been there since I took my younger sibling there for their birthday. And honestly, that makes me really depressed, but I would rather make smart financial decisions and not go to Barnes & Noble for 7 months than go to Barnes & Noble whenever I want, because that would have me broke. But I'm maybe 5 minutes away from the Barnes & Noble. Unfortunately, I don't live close to any Barnes & Nobles, so it's usually like a 45-minute to an hour drive if I want to go to one, because that is how far literally every Barnes & Noble is from me. I'm going to talk to you guys once I actually am in the parking lot, because I definitely have more to talk about before I actually go in. I have such a game plan and I'm so excited. So I'll talk to you in a sec. Okay, I just got to the Barnes & Noble parking lot and it's so eerie being here right now because I think they opened early for Boxing Day. And so they're opening at 8, but the rest of the mall doesn't open until 10. So there are like max 20 cars in this massive mall parking lot. And it's really weird. But I wanted to talk about the books that I'm hoping to get because I'm definitely going in there with a specific strategy today. I really want to get more romanticy because, granted, I'm sure I have so much upstairs packed away that I haven't gone through since we thought we were gonna move. But I am just okay. So the other day, I think I finished it on Christmas Eve. No, I finished it the day before Christmas Eve. Heartless Hunter. I read that because Steph recommended it so incredibly highly. And I rated that book 5 stars. Like, an instant 5 stars. That was such an easy book for me to go through. I read it in 2 days. I ate every single part of that book up. And I've discussed this previously. I discussed it a lot in Vlogmas, actually. But I think I'm really starting to get into my romantasy era because contemporary romances, please don't park right next to me, just don't hit the way that they used to, for me at least, and they're fine as palette cleansers, but I'm a little bit over them, and they just don't feel deep. And I mean, again, Steph said this as well, bring back yearning in books. I want a man who will go to the ends of the earth for the woman he loves. And you definitely don't really find that in a whole lot of contemporary romances. So I think I'm going to go to fantasy to find them. But the store is now open. It is 8:01 and I'm going to go in. like a disaster. But I'm not
not gonna let that discourage me from filming this video. Also, if you can hear a massive echo, it is because this room is basically empty. All that is in here is books. But I finally have a break to talk to you guys about all the books I got today. I have not fully counted how many books I actually bought, so it's gonna be a fun little thing for us to discover together. So, the first book I bought is The Courting of Bristol Keats. I have not really heard much about this book, but it is by Mary E. Pearson, who is the same author as the Dance of Thieves duology. It looks like this book is about Bristol, and her sister are really struggling ever since her parents passed away. And then she gets a letter from like a mysterious aunt saying that her father might not actually be dead, he might just be kidnapped. And so obviously she goes on a mission to find him, and she ends up having to, she has to make a bargain with the Fae leader Tigan. And it looks like he is the one that actually drove her parents into hiding. But it all just seems so good, and as I discussed earlier, I really want to get more into romantasy and just fantasy in general. So I thought this would be perfect. And also, look at those edges. Also, if you are not aware, Barnes & Noble's like Boxing Day after Christmas sale is 1/3 of the price off any hardcovers, and then it's 2 times point for members and 3 times stamps for premium members. Anyhow, the next book I got is The Sky is on Fire by Jen Lyons. And what really drew me into this is the dragons. This book is about Anna Fraud, and it seems like she just wants to like live her own life in a very solitary existence, but a dragon rider seems to save her from being captured by a warlord, and he's like, you have to help me like pull off this heist, I think. And the person that they're supposed to be stealing from is someone that really wants her dead. I don't know, just the dragons is what really drew me in, and it got a blurb from Freya Marsk, which is the same author as A Marvelous Light, and she said that nobody does dragons like Jen Lyons. And ever since Fourth Wing, I've just really gotten into the whole dragon aspect of fantasy, which you will see later on in this fall. Anywho, the next book I got is just something I had to pick up. If you watched, actually I don't even think I read this in Vlogmas fully, or I didn't finish it in Vlogmas. It is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I'm not sure. This book is incredible. I rated it 5 stars. It was such an easy 5 stars. This book is all about Rune, and Rune is a witch in a world that hunts witches. And her best friend, Alex, his older brother, is their town's like most ruthless witch hunter. He is on the search for the Crimson Moth, who is a witch that breaks witches out of prison and like rescues them, basically. And there is a tie that is found that leads back to Rune, and so Gideon decides to court her to like get in with her inner circle and figure out who is doing this. Surprise, surprise, she's the Crimson Moth, and she is trying to figure out the location of a witch she wants to rescue. So she starts to court Gideon in order to find out where they're keeping, I think her name is Seraphine. But this book is extraordinary, enemies to lovers, and the ending had my jaw like gaping. I was so slack-jawed. I could not believe what was happening, and I'm so excited for the final book in this duology to come out in February. And it's so close, it's almost here. The next book I picked up was A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. So it looks like this book is about Freya, and she is in a ridiculously unhappy marriage and wants to leave her husband, kill her husband. Suddenly, her husband betrays her and sends his son Bjorn after her. And turns out she has like a really, really special magic within her. So it looks like she's bound to Bjorn, the son, and she has to like train and all these kinds of things. But I'm pretty sure it's a romance with the son, which is bizarre. But I know I'm going to be here for it. I'm so into romantasy right now. Next. Oh my god, I left one of the books downstairs. That sucks. I'm not gonna go downstairs to get it, but I got Quicksilver by, I think it's by Callie Hart. I could be wrong. I'll insert a picture of the cover somewhere on here. I am currently reading that. I'm like 25% of the way through. I started Quicksilver on Kindle Unlimited. It was a little bit slow in the beginning, but I'm eating it up now. It is so good. It is all about Ceres, and she lives in this like desert world basically, where there are different like sections in the town, and she lives in the poorest town where water is rationed to 6 ounces of water a day for these people that are living in like baking heat and sandstorms, all that kind of stuff. And she does something she definitely shouldn't that lands her in some very hot water, and something happens where she literally thinks she's dying, and she ends up grabbing this blade that like calls death to her. It's not actually death, it is a member of the Fae who like came through the portal that she opened by like from when she picked up the sword basically, and now they're like, you're an alchemist, you have to basically figure this out, and in order for us to have portals again and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, she just wants to get back to her hometown. She just wants to make sure that her brother is okay, because the queen basically promised to kill her brother and everyone that lives in the 3rd ward. So she's a little stressed, understandably. But I'm loving it so much, and while all that is going on, the man that came through the portal and retrieved her to the Fae realm is like her mentor. He's supposed to be teaching her all this stuff, and it looks like it's gonna be such a good romantasy. I'm so excited for that to happen. But anywho, next one, we have Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. I've been wanting to get this book for such a long time, but I wanted to wait for the paperback to come out. This is about Arcady, and they take a very special artifact, and it brings this dragon back into the realm in the form of a human. And in order to save the dragons, this dragon has to get Arcady to like get him to trust him enough that they'll bond together completely, I guess. I don't know. But it sounds like it's going to be a romance, and like he won't be able to bind with Arcady because he doesn't want to kill them. And it seems really good. And again, I'm really getting into dragon books. Next, we have The Last One by Rachel Houtsell Hall. This book is about Kai, and Kai ends up in a place where like she doesn't even know how she got there, and she's like trying to figure out how to leave, and all of a sudden she sees this like blacksmith wield crazy amount of fighting skill, and I think they like try to team up. Seems like a little bit of a enemies to lovers, Grumpy Sunshine kind of vibe. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, I have 3 more books, and then I also just got a really cute book pin I almost got 2 because there was a Pride and Prejudice one, and y'all already know Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books ever. My favorite romance book ever. But it just says books are magic. And I thought it was really cute. Okay. The next one we have is Blood of Hercules. This is about, I don't know what her name is. I don't know, but this girl is really struggling. Turns out she's Hercules, and she ends up going to this like Spartan academy, and all of her professors, all of the students basically hate her. And I don't think it's a romance, but it just absolutely sounds very incredible and very, I don't know, I'm like, the prospect of seeing a female Hercules sounds really, really interesting, and I'm very excited to get to that. Next one, we have A Study in Drowning. This is the special edition. I cannot even believe I got my hands on this, let alone got it 33% off because of the sale today. This book is a work of art. Like, first of all, that's the foil on the back, and the spine literally looks like a classic book with the foiling. And then we have the edges. It's not focusing, but it's like library books on the edges, and it's just so beautiful. But this book is about Effie, and she is currently in college, I believe, and she ends up going to her like hero's estate to try to like figure out how she lived and all that kind of stuff. Obviously she doesn't find the author, but she does find Preston, who is trying to prove that her favorite author is a fraud. And it seems like a little bit of an enemies to lovers, and clearly we have a theme here because 95% of these are enemies to lovers. The description at the bottom of the book though says part historical fantasy, part rivals to lovers romance, part gothic mystery, and that sounds incredible. Ever since Ruthless Vows, historical fantasy rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers has always been intriguing to me just because I absolutely adored that series, and so I really think I'm going to enjoy that. And then the last book I got is actually just a non-fiction book, which is The Courage to Be Disliked. And if you guys watched my 23 things I learned in my 23 years, you would know I talked about the fact that it is a simple fact of life that not everyone is going to like you. That being said, I still struggle with that and wanting people to like me, so I thought that might be a good book to help with that. And I also just want to start reading like one nonfiction book a month, maybe even one every 2 months, because I'm not a nonfiction reader by any means. But so those are the 10 books I got today. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you all are having an absolutely extraordinary morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!